Craig Patterson here, aka Patty. Some people even call me the Pink Pig. Anyway, here we are with Caron Adderley, who is our latest graduate, actually at Madlab School of Fitness in Vancouver, but she just went through our latest, or actually we've actually done another version since you've gone through. I forgot that. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
She did Professional Coach Development Program 4.0 with our whole team, and Tom leads that thing. So it's really on the ground, what happened, and we're here to talk about it. Say hello, Caron.
Hi. How's it going?
Caron, let's go right back to the start. I mean, we sat down and actually talked about you becoming a coach. I don't know how many years ago that was. We went to lunch and I made you drink a glass of wine.
Well, I was on lunch from my regular job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you sort of gave me a lot of that background of where you're coming from and why you wanted to take a shot at this. Maybe you can take our listeners through, like, let's go back a bunch of years. Like, how did you get into the fitness industry? I know you had a first go around, and just take us to kind of like right out of high school. What happened?
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved fitness and been involved. When I was starting at the age of 9, I was in martial arts and like competitively on the national team and stuff like that. And so I've always been really big into movement, fitness. I went to school for kind of the biologies because I thought that was kind of the way to go, and graduated and was kind of looking for a job, and I ended up getting my very first job was actually teaching kids karate at a community center, which was great. This is like, God, maybe 90, 89. So this is like old. I'm old. And I was making like $16 an hour, which was amazing, but I worked like 2 hours a week, right? And I love that job. I love teaching kids karate, and I think it was like an 8-week program, and every 8 weeks having new kids, and it was great. And that really kind of started my love of like coaching and teaching. And as I moved on, and I ended up getting a job in a women's only gym here in Vancouver called Spa Lady. Now it's not around anymore, and when I tell you how it was set up,
flag Spa Lady without a lawsuit.
Yeah, you'll see why this is no longer around anymore. So it was a women's only gym. I was a trainer there. Get this. So it was $19 a month. And if you pay for 2 months or pay for 2 years, it was $19 a month. If you signed up a friend, if you referred a friend, you would get 2 years for free. So it was like, pay for 2 years at $19 a month, get 2 years for free if you bring in a friend. So that was how it was set up. So you can start to see now why they went out of business.
Wow.
They don't exist anymore. Your personal training was all included, unlimited personal training.
Holy mackerel.
In that package. So you can imagine what me as a personal trainer at that gym got paid.
I mean, these guys must have just wanted to boost up as many people as they possibly could in the salary or something.
I like thinking back, knowing what I know.
I can't even figure out how
what I know now, I'm like, I don't actually really understand. It was all about referrals. Like, pretty much everyone would bring in a friend because then they wanted their 2 years for free, and then that person would pay for 2 years like upfront, and then like get 2 years for free.
Multi-level marketing scam of some kind. And then how do they pay for the personal training?
So that's the thing, right? So I'm making like, okay, again, this is old, so I'm making like $5 or $6 an hour, and I get something ridiculous like $5 commission for every membership I sell. And there's no sales training or anything like that. So I did not sell a lot of memberships. So I was making peanuts, and I was working like 13-hour days because you're basically there from open to close. You had to teach 3 classes a day, which like, because my martial arts background, I taught like 3 I either did like cardio kickboxing for an hour, and this is old school where you're up on the stage with the big, Madonna headphone on, and
God
and
bless.
again, you didn't get paid for classes. It was just all part of like your hourly, what you're supposed to, wait,
Whether you're paying
your
an
hour.
hourly wage and then you'd go figure
Yeah,
out.
it's part of your $5 an hour. You had to do all of these things, and my books were full because it was unlimited. Imagine as a member, it was like unlimited personal training. So some people just booked me like every week. So I worked for like 12, 13-hour days every day. Anyways, you can imagine I got pretty burnt out and I was broke.
Yeah.
So I ended up quitting that job to become a receptionist somewhere, making $12 an hour.
No kidding.
Yeah. So, but I freaking loved that job. Other than the pay and all, like how hard I had to work, I loved like, and it was women only. I loved training the women. I love the women that I worked with. So everything about the job, other than like the fact that I couldn't actually make a living, was fantastic. Um, and it was weird. It had like little culty stuff that we won't even get into. Just the whole organization was kind of
Yeah.
strange.
Let's move on.
But yeah.
That's quality.
So this is where like if I had known Madlab back then,
Yeah.
man, I would have been a lifer. But I wasn't. So I became a receptionist. um and I just started doing like other jobs from there. And I built other careers. I ended up joining the police department back home, and then moving to Canada and did some other corporate work in the kind of the environmental sector. And the whole time, whether it be in the police or in my corporate job, I was always teaching was always part of my job. So I was a swimming and life saving instructor for the police when I was in the police service, and I was a corporate trainer on the side for what I did with my corporate life here. So teaching has always been something that I've loved to do, and working with people. And I really take that back to like my first job at the community center working with those kids. So when I started at Madlab as a client, of course I fell in love with the place.
How did you hear about us in the first place? Like, how did this go down?
Yeah, so I was really big into running okay, so at about age 38, was doing my corporate job, which again just was working like ridiculous amount of hours. I was very unhealthy, out of shape, overweight. And at the age of 38, I decided to like make some changes in my life. So for me, it started with diet, which is why like we talk about nutrition maybe a little bit later on. Nutrition has been a big passion of mine. And it started just reading books, and kind of educating myself and changing my diet. I started running at the time because I'm like, I don't know, get in shape. You go for a run. So I started running and made a group of friends with my running group. We were running half marathons, and then because I love teaching so much, I ended up coaching half marathon clinics with the group that I was running with. And then my friends and I, we did a Tough Mudder. So we're gonna go down to Seattle and do this Tough Mudder. And yeah, it was great. The running part was great, but anything having to do with strength, man, I totally sucked. I couldn't pull myself over a wall. I couldn't do any of those things. I ended up actually separating my shoulder during the event. Um,
How long ago is this? What year are we in, or how long ago?
oh God. So I think I'm on like 8.5 years now. So this was literally just a month before I joined Madlab. So after we finished the Tough Mudder, a friend of mine was like, and this is back when we were CrossFit gym. A friend of mine, Wayne, he said to me and my other friend Alan that we all did the Tough Mudder together. He's like, you guys, we need to like get stronger because we kind of sucked at some of this stuff. And he's like, I found this CrossFit gym in Vancouver called CrossFit Vancouver. We can do all of our personal training together. And we have this, we're gonna meet with this guy named T-Bear. And so in we go. And again, I'm in a sling at this point. We had our intro session and we're like, cool, we're gonna do this. We're gonna wait a month to like rehab my shoulder a little bit. And yeah, we just all three of us as a coach now, I can't imagine would it be like taking three people through PTs at a time. I've done a couple of tandems, but three people at once must have been a nightmare for poor T-Bear.
Yeah, and most of
But
the
they're
world, their on-ramp classes are 5 people and 10. You know what I mean? Like most of the,
oh
you can see why it doesn't work, right?
yeah.
Or the coach is 10 times harder. Or yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I always say like having a tandem is great. I don't mind doing it, but it literally is twice the work. And if
yeah.
you add a third person in there, like, yeah, I
Just get them to
can't.
show up on time and agree on a time is a fucking pile of
Oh,
work, right?
totally,
Yeah.
totally. So yeah, so went through, our fundamentals and started going to classes. Um, for me with my schedule, I live out in Coquitlam, which is like, I don't know, depending on the time of day, 20 to 30 minutes away from the actual gym, but it was pretty close to my work. So I ended up becoming a morning person and going in, doing the 6 a.m. class and then going to work. And I did that for a few years, quit running, realized that I like the gym way better and really got way more involved in the gym and the community. And eventually with my corporate job, like I was working in like our operations group, so there was a lot of travel and just really long days. And eventually I moved into corporate health and safety, which I kind of called my semi-retirement because now I had like kind of a normal work schedule. I didn't have to travel very often. So just a little bit more of a like normal schedule and normal life. And I can't remember if it was Tom or Andy, which one. But I ended up started talking, really wanted to like explore more about like coaching and what the apprenticeship program was, because I just wanted to get back into that like teaching and doing what I love. So whomever I talked to, I remember going out for coffee with Andy to talk about it because he ended up being my mentor coach. And I just remember him saying, of all the people I've had here, the potential, apprentices, he's like, you're the only one that I have zero concerns about. Like, let's do this. So I'm like, cool.
That's
So
a
it was,
big vouch.
hey man,
I
that's
don't know if he's
coming from
given that to me
Andy.
yet. I don't think I've got.
I know, right? Coming from Andy, I was pretty happy with that. I'm like, cool. I mean, a part of it, I'm older. Got lot of life experience. I've done a lot of things in my life, so I'm not kind of brand new out of the box kind of person here. But so honestly, I was shadowing Andy to start. Did a lot of shadowing with him, and at this time the apprenticeship program was like doing a whole bunch of reading online. It wasn't what we have now. So it was whatever it was before what it was when I went through with like Derek and everything. So I was doing all this reading, a lot of like textbooks and stuff to read through and shadowing Andy. And I was like, and shadowing him with classes and then PTs, and then finally started bringing in my own people for PTs. And basically, I would come to the gym, coach in the morning, maybe at 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., and then go to work, and then kind of leave work a little early. And so I was putting in a solid 6 hours at work while I was trying to like figure out this coach thing. And that went on for a little while until the kind of new program the new apprenticeship program started, and I kind of dove in with that with Derek and Tom, which was great. It was a lot more structured with the videos and at the time the calls, um, and really just more learning how to be a coach and how to do the business side of coaching rather than just trying to teach people how to do the technical side, because the technical side I was getting from the people at the gym anyways. I had all that with Andy and with even with Tom. So it was really about learning how to do a first day, how to keep people, how to get referrals. All of those things were really important to like help actually grow my coaching business.
Yeah, so I just saw. I usually let these things kind of go where they want to go. So I don't know. This popped in my head whether it's where it goes from here. I thought that might have been my cat. I wasn't sure.
That's fine.
Audrey, of course, had to get a cat. Tortured me for a year and a half. Now we have a toothless, homeless cat. But I guess he's not homeless anymore, but he was.
Not homeless now.
Oh, she's actually She's the nicest cat in the world. Okay. So I saw your check, and I think it was like, what is it, $5,600 take home last month?
54, I think. Yeah.
54.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. I mean, where do you think that is? 5,400 take home. Where does that fit in the whole world?
That's you know, kind of going. I'll start kind of by going backwards in the
Okay.
story a little bit. Let me just get rid
All right.
of this kitty. There came a point during COVID, we were closed, and this whole time I was like working part-time, coaching part-time, and I was trying to like, what's the number of clients I needed in order to quit my job to do this full-time, right? And COVID happened, our gym shut down. And it also really hit my other job, that industry, really, really hard. This kitty does not want to leave me alone. Okay. And they were offering layoff packages, and they're asking for volunteers for layoffs. And I had been with this company like 14, 15 years. So I figured that was pretty much like the perfect opportunity for me to take a voluntary layoff package, have some money in the bank, and then go like all in on myself here with this coaching thing. And now this was, like I said, we reopened with after COVID had a shutdown that first time, and almost all of my clients had moved away, and I had one client left. So I quit my job, go all in on myself, and had one client. So you can imagine what my checks were like back then.
Yeah.
So it was really helpful for me to have that, like,
So this is like 2.5
that
years
backup.
ago. So in two and a
Yeah,
half
almost
years, you
3,
went
yeah.
from zero, basically.
Yeah.
Yet you had a passion, you had a certain amount of knowledge, certain amount of expertise, certain amount of business sense and sales sense from what you hadn't done all the courses at that point, though, right?
Not all of them, no.
Oh. So you went from there to, you're grossing, I don't know, if your take home is 50, 40, you must be grossing around 12,000 a month or something like that. So that's it's quite a bit of business to go from there to here. Now, and in a lot of places, $60,000 or $70,000 a year could be a decent living for a coach. For you in Vancouver, we got to get to what?
Gotta get a little more than that.
7, 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 would be great.
You can see a plan. You know the math on that, and you can see a plan forward to get that, and life looks good at that.
Yeah, I mean, I have in my head a certain amount of clients that I want that is like sustainable, plus my specialty program, which is nutrition, right?
Yeah.
So the changes that we've made with our nutrition programs, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but that's a lot more doable now for me, because we've made that scalable, whereas before it really wasn't. So between the two of them, I definitely think that that's a possible number, and like physically feasible.
I don't have to get into all this, but I mean, everybody's got challenges in life. You've had some especially challenging personal life stuff that's happened to you that maybe, when I ask the question, how good is life looking right now? Like, just your job satisfaction and having free time and making money is not, sometimes in our minds we'd be like, you got all this other stuff. But as far as the job and the lifestyle, and let's say any other issues in life are cleaned up, and you know what it would take to make $7,000 or $8,000 a month, how long do you think you can do this for?
I mean, until I'm old and decide to retire.
Good.
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm not planning on working forever, but also, it's, even though I'm closing in on 50 now, but it's still like a new career, right? Like, even though it's a return to an old career, it's definitely new and something I want to continue to grow and explore and develop. And I'm all about that kind of. One of the things that Andy did a really good job instilling in me from like day one of my apprenticeship was just that idea of lifelong learning, right? And he took me to some seminars and stuff like that, but the stuff that he does, which just really opened my eyes to the fact that there's so much out there to learn. And we get to kind of specialize and pick which areas we want to grow in. So I feel like, I've just either with nutrition, and with women's health in general, which is what I'm like really passionate about. There's just so much area to grow that I feel like, even though I've done a bunch of courses and I'm working with the women, that I'm just starting to like uh just scraping the barrel. Like there's so much more to go. So there's definitely like no waning of the passion.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. So to keep that passion and flow, I really believe that the client development process, the coach development process, coach compensation, our 9 laws, and how they
Mhm.
interplay with each other is key to not getting burnt out and to have that passion. And then I
Mhm.
see gym owners saying, I want to, I talk to a lot of gym owners and I've seen a lot fall off over the years. And they make a decision like, we're going to do a Groupon or we're going to do a 6-week challenge. We're going to do, all these different marketing things to bring a bunch of people into the gym.
Mhm.
Maybe talk about, if I went to do a 6-week challenge right now and I brought 50 people in and I said, here, Caron, you got to take 5 of them. We're going to put them straight into your class.
Mhm.
Or are you going to run a 5-person Groupon ramp for 2 weeks before we get them into a class? Tell me why is that mortally fucking devastating to you, the client, and to the gym, but more to you from where you're standing. Why is that devastating?
Yeah, that sounds pretty much like a nightmare. First of all, just the energy it takes to like even say take 5 people and teach them brand new movements. Like working one-on-one or even two-on-one. Two-on-one I feel like is tops. But mostly working one-on-one with people, first of all, gives you a really good chance or time to build that relationship, and get to know people and get to know their needs and what they need, and to actually teach them the movement. And I can't imagine with even just 5 people in an on ramp, like, um, you're just not going to be able to get that quality of attention to anybody. And I can't imagine like people not knowing the movements ending up in like the greater group class, because that group class is not the time for me to like teach people how to do a movement. It's really about like that fine tuning of things that I see, and actually give them like quality coaching rather than like, every once in a while you get like a brand new person and say you're doing a movement that they haven't done before, which is fine. That happens. Like I don't know, whatever. You're doing flying phalanges and they never did flying phalanges in PT. So you got to take some time to like teach them how to do this thing. Um, and that just takes a lot of energy, and it takes away from all the other people that are in the class that could use some fine tuning on their flying phalanges, right? So, um, yeah, having like a whole bunch of new people that don't know what they're doing, that are not autonomous in class, would sounds just like a nightmare for the coach, and like sounds like a lose-lose for the clients, because they're not gonna really learn. They're not gonna learn which way to do their flying phalange is the best for them, based on their mobility, their this, their that, right? So, yeah, it sounds like a nightmare.
So you ever have clients tell you some really personal information they probably wouldn't tell a group?
Oh. I
I
mean,
say
you've
that
been
with
in
one
there.
tongue coming out of my cheek because I know you're over there saying all kinds of shit to each other, doing all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah, you've been in the room when I'm
Yeah,
like when I'm coaching my clients. I get
yeah,
I get all of the information. So
yeah.
yeah.
So would you be able to do that with 2 other people listening?
No, like you just could not build those relationships. And like those relationships are what then gets them to refer their clients to you, right? And then that's how you grow your business. I think end of last year, someone, I think it was Audrey, printed out like how percentage of referrals that each coach's clients are. Mine's like 65% or 68. I think it was like one or two more than Tom. I was like, yes. And and that's all it has to do.
Tom's got to let some of these old people go that we gave to him
You know.
7 years ago or something to beat you on that one, I think.
But it all comes down to those relationships that you're able to build, and the trust that that person has, that they're gonna then refer their friend to. Or like, I've got one guy came in as a web lead, and he referred his wife who just had a baby to me, who then referred her like 60-something-year-old mother who has scoliosis to me. Like, it's because people trust you, and the only way they're going to have that trust is through building those relationships together.
Yeah.
You can't do in a group.
So we get gym owners come on these ridiculous forums around CrossFit and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, I don't want to do that because that's a low barrier that's a high barrier to entry, and my coaches don't want to do that." Like, do you think it's responsible to put someone into a group class without actually doing an assessment?
No, I mean, that's just how people are going to get hurt.
Right.
And there's no way that they're getting that movement, whatever movement they're doing, tailored and the right variation for them, because no one's actually assessed, like, how do your shoulders move, how do your ankles move. If you don't know those things about the client, how are you prescribing the right movement for them for what they need to get better? So I can't see, all I can see is that leading to injury or people quitting.
Right. That's why we
not,
see 70%.
yeah.
70% churn rates and gyms that do that stuff. It's incredible. But I think the client development process, can you describe briefly what you do, what we do? I think yours is be along the same lines. Well, let's say you have someone you're doing a great job with. How do if they want to bring their friend in or their family member or whoever? I know that you just said you have a 68% referral rate. That'll probably go up to 80 and so forth as we go. But what does the first point of contact look like for you? Like, how do you get them to send you an email? Like, let's just go through our whole client development process, the first 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's a referral, if it's a house lead, I get that in from Tom, and basically I think the key there when you get a house lead, especially, is just to text them right away. Like, you can't sit on that for 2-3 days a week, because I mean, they've put in that request form into the website or whatever. Like, you got to get it strike while it's hot, right? These guys want to do it. You wait 4 days, they might have changed their mind by then, or like
might have contacted 2 other places as well.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll go with referrals. So usually I tell my clients, first of all, I talk about this right from day one. In my intro session, we talk about community. And I say that the reason we have a great community and I have so many great clients is because people refer their friends. And that helps you to build the community that you want. So we talk about it right from day one.
Nice. That's great.
And we talk about it all throughout the process. So my clients know that if they have a friend that they want, that just to do an intro text, and they're allowed to just give them my contact number. Or if their friend is shy, they can just give me their contact number. So they know they have free license to give out my number to their friends, or an intro text is usually the best way. And then again, it's just striking while like the interest is hot. So right away, making sure that you're on that and you're just texting. And my first text is really just like, whether it's a referral or a house lead, just like, hey, thanks for reaching out. This is Coach Caron. How can I help you today? And you just kind of leave it open like that. And they're going to tell you why they've reached out. Like, some people straight up, I want to know how much it costs. Not usually referrals, but like house leads sometimes, and they're all about costs. Or some people just like, hey, I heard you've been working with my friend Joanne. She says you're awesome, and I'd really love to like get in shape, and I want to see what it's all about. Cool. My only like real deal with that first kind of text is getting them in for an intro. That's what I'm selling, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually pretty easy. Like, hey, everyone starts with a chat. Why don't you come on in? You can see the facility, check out what we're like, and see if we're a good fit.
What if you get
And
that text and it says, "How much do you cost?" What do you do then?
yeah, normally I will just go a little bit of
A little Greg Mac on them.
little Greg Mack on them. Like, is that your primary? Yeah, that's a great question.
Is
Is
that
that your
your only
primary
concern in
concern? And
choosing a gym? Yeah, that's your
yeah,
primary.
and
Yeah. I would say only
what?
offend them because I'm no good anymore.
Yeah. What is that like? Stroke, reverse,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that great Greg
great.
Mack stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I always like to be prepared on that like intro session. So I will just like set up a bench, right? Whatever. Welcome Sarah on the board so they know that I'm waiting for them, that like I try to make them
Well,
feel as welcome as possible, right? And then I always just start with I want to have them talking first. Like, cool, I'm so glad you're here. I show them facility. We sit down. I just want to know what got you reaching out. And if it's a referral, being like, other than Joanne, what got you reaching out today? Like, how can we help you? And let them talk. Like, I want to hear from them. I want them talking about themselves as much. And I play with a game called the Curiosity Game. And
taking
I
notes for our headers. Keep on going. Sorry, paying no attention.
I like to play what I call the Curiosity Game, which is just I just try to ask as many questions as I can. This is the time when I want them talking and I want them telling me really why they're there. Not because they want to lose 10 pounds, but like, the fact that they're turning 40 and their dad had a heart attack and died at 40 and now they're scared that they're the same age. I want to like get into that, and by the way you're going to get into those, like, what do we call it, the pains or why they're really there, is just by asking questions and being curious about them and really just probing. And so I spend a lot of time, especially at the beginning, not talking except asking questions. And I think a lot of people jump right to like trying to sell and tell the person about us rather than let them tell their story.
I've been guilty of that.
Yeah. I mean, people love to
I mean,
talk
I've
about
sold the
themselves.
thing, and that yet maybe my retention would be worse because if you didn't get that right away, then it creeps up somewhere along the line, right? So
Yeah.
this is in depth selling with integrity. You're thinking of retention before you even think of the sale.
Yeah. And also, I'm thinking, are we the right place for you?
Yeah,
Right?
and you can be a
Like,
little picky after you get your book up, so you're making 5,000 a month. It's like, hey,
yeah,
I'm scripting my life now. Do I want to work with this person, or is this right?
exactly. Or
I
are
mean,
they better suited for another coach?
yeah. The
I
training
think
I got
there's,
around that one was that they'd come into the room and you're like, oh no, I got to work with this person again.
yeah,
No,
you learn when there's
that's the
people
one.
that like, yeah, that people that drain your energy and you're like, you're not excited to work with them. You want to get to the point where you can like, hey, maybe you'd actually be better fit for this coach or whatever. I think from the beginning, I've had no problems handing off a client to someone else. And I think we often work with that like kind of scarcity mindset that you want to hoard as many clients as you can because you do want to build that book. But ultimately, what I found is if I did keep a client that really wasn't a good fit, it didn't last anyways. So am I really like losing out if I give them to a coach that I know is going to be a better fit down the road? Um, or like now, or if that client is still around, just succeeding with another coach, then great. Then at least the client wins, the gym wins. So yeah, I think recognizing who you're going to be a good fit with, and that's all part of that first conversation. Because yeah, not everyone's a great fit.
So you're
So
getting through your initial consult. At the end, now you're going for. You decided they're a good fit. You want
mhm.
them as a client. How do you? What are you
Yeah, then we're
selling, and how do you do this part? Like, I mean, for this, a lot of. Like, I guarantee you, there's a lot of coaches out there, if not like the vast majority, that don't know how to do this. And when the gym owners are
mhm,
like, no, we don't do that, it's because they haven't done it themselves. They wouldn't know how to teach anybody how to properly evaluate and
mhm.
consult and do all these things and ask for the business, and this is the part I just got off with another lady that she was awesome, and her bit of confidence of asking for the sale or saying, here's how much it costs, let's get going, whatever it is. I did it my own way, which was like, you want to do this with me or not? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was it. Okay, give me your credit card, done. That's kind of
Yeah.
that's what I got to. You know what I mean? You want to do it with me or not? What do you do? How does this work? Close the
Yeah.
sale
I mean,
for me here, Caron.
so I talk a little our spiel about the actual gym. So I give that little kind of 10 minutes about how our programming cycle works and all of that, which I think is important. And the fact that we're a coaching facility, the community, the accountability. And then I break it down and I'm like, okay, everyone starts the first 3 PTs that we do. These are assessments. And we'd already talked kind of a little bit about the programming, how the class, they need to be autonomous. And they're not going to be doing the same thing as everybody else. And so I talk about how this is going to be the assessment, and this is going to be how we start to determine what the right exercise or right movements are for them. And I tell them right up. So first 3 is assessment. We're still going to be exercising. You're still going to be learning. Our PTs are $100 each. From there, we're going straight into PTs. And you can bank on about 18 altogether. So I want you to think about budgeting $1,800 for personal training. And you don't have to pay that all at once. Most people pick them off 3 at a time. And then I go into what the hybrid membership looks like. And I'm like, look, our average membership cost, just so you can start wrapping your head around for budget, is about $300 a month. And that's going to give you 3 to 4 classes a week and meeting with me every 6 weeks. I tie that back into our programming cycles and how they change every 6 weeks. So I'm not kind of shy about the money. I'm like, this is the cost. Budget for it.
Unless you want me to have a bad life, you know what I mean? So you can exploit
Yeah.
me. Well, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
have a good life too, right?
I always say, like, look, everyone starts with the first 3 PTs. This is a little bit lower barrier of entry. It's $300 for those first 3, and it gives you a chance to like try and to test it out and to see if you like it, see if this is for you, see if you like me, or maybe you want another coach. And so I always just, from that intro, I sell those first 3 PTs, and I've never had an issue at PT number 3. I'm always like, cool, so we got 15 to go. Do you want to buy 3 or 5 at a time? And you just kind of, you don't be like, do you want to continue? Do you like it? Just like, how do you want to pay?
You're
3 or
not
5
sure.
at
I
a time?
shouldn't be too sure either. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And
I used to sell 10. I thought it wasn't a good day. I didn't really. I don't know. I like the sale, and I like the vibe of it, and I like closing deals and this kind of thing. I like 10. 3. I don't think 3 would have gave me the charge I was looking for, and that's probably why it was 10 at the start. Nice round number.
Yeah.
If you don't have $750, you have bigger problems than your fitness, and this kind of thing. But I know the smarter people in the room said, let's do a 3-day assessment, and it seems that the retention numbers are better. So why not, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
you do your professional consult, sell them into a 3-day assessment. That's $100. That goes good. You sell them another 5 sessions at a time at $100 a piece. You get up summers around 20 sessions, 15 to 20 sessions, and then you're selling a lifelong program now, right?
yeah, and then we tell these people, like, okay, now this is what we need to determine. We need to determine, I think you should be in classes 3 times a week. And I want to meet with you every 6 weeks when the program cycle changes. So that's that $300 membership that we talked about from the beginning. And one of the things that Tom taught me isn't like, okay, what do you want to do now? What do you think you want to do? Like, no. This is my opinion of what you need to do. And there's times when people are like, hey, I just can't quite afford that. I think I'm going to do the 2-day-a-week membership because I also want to do spin and Pilates. Cool, no problem. And then we'll set that up. But yeah, it's more about like letting the client know what you think would be best for them. It's not like, hey, I think you should come 6 days a week and whatever. But
yeah, that idea of coming 5 or 6 days a week, that's an obsession. I don't think that's healthy at all. We're trying to sell a better life. It's funny you say that. I've been with marketing people that have actually hired. They're like, "What do you think we should do now?" And I'm like, "Holy fuck, what? That's why I hired you, man. Like, what do you think? You're gonna
Yeah, you tell
magically
me.
pull the equation for Google out of my head somewhere that it's buried in there? I don't know it or something. Like, it's just
Yeah.
beyond bizarre. Then I know they don't know what they're talking about. It's just they're just yeah. Okay, back to me again. It's not about me. It's boring. Problems. Okay, so somehow I had no intention for this to be the client development process day, but kind of went there. I'm really glad because you've nailed this, and you've gone in 2 years or 2.5 years. You've gone from pretty much zero to grossing like $12,000 a month or so. Now there's a nutrition part we're looking at here now. So we're partnering up with WAG and Seismic, and this is not a WAG or Seismic commercial because we're not sure yet. We're still in the testing phase. We have a sister gym in Cincinnati, Cornerstone Fitness. Laura and Melissa, shouts out, that have done very good in this program. That's another little benefit of the Madlab group as we collaborate with gyms that have like-minded client development processes. If you're a gym owner or if you're a coach listening to this and your gym owner is telling you, or you're telling your coaches, hey, we got to put people ready to do a group class. We got to do a group on-ramp. What else do we not do, Caron? Like bring a friend day, free month. You have just ruined your fucking business. You've just given your coaches no chance to become professionals, right?
They'll quit to be receptionists.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, shout out to Melissa and Laura. You had a passion in nutrition. You kind of fixed your own issues and had an awakening. And then you were doing nutrition how? And then how do you see a future for it that's way more better?
Yeah, so I was pretty early on. I started my kind of specialty program was nutrition coaching, or is nutrition coaching. And I was doing, when I first started, I was meeting people in person. This is pre-COVID, having like sitting upstairs at the in our little lounge, and it was just very time and energy consuming. And then yeah, and then and you can only take so many because you would have like an hour-long meeting like every week or whatever with these with your clients. Moved to online with COVID as everybody moved to like Zoom, and that made it a little easier. So I put everybody on like 1 day a week. I would stay home, which is usually my Wednesdays, and I would do my online coaching. But again, it was like hour-long Zooms, Google Docs, spreadsheets, and just there's only so many clients I could take on. It was not scalable because it was very energy and time consuming for me. Going in, checking people's food law, like just a lot. So the great thing with what we've got going on now is the selling feature for me is definitely the Seismic app. So it's an app that basically does all the things that I used to do with Google Docs and spreadsheets and all of that. It's the client is going to use that to track all of or to enter in all their macros. They're doing all their check-ins, their photos every week, their how they sleep every night, everything is in one place. And all of our check-ins are fully online, so they check in every week. They're going to write you the paragraph. It takes about 10 minutes now to do a weekly check-in per client, versus like an hour-long Zoom,
plus travel time, plus energy, plus
yeah. So it's definitely way more scalable. I have one client, one kind of legacy client left that she's doing a little bit of a hybrid. She's still paying the old rate, which was a little bit more, but she's Seismic and Zoom at both, because when she first started, I didn't have Seismic. So we actually just had a conversation yesterday about putting her down into the online only, and cutting out those Zooms, because she's had a lot of my time and energy and like a lot of the information out of my brain.
The app itself could probably bring all kinds of things to her that wasn't coming before, right?
Yeah, she's using the app now, and like when she has her questions, she can send me messages in the app, and she's getting just as thorough of an answer rather than waiting for the 2 week mark and
Yeah,
asking them on the Zoom. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel it's like it's more timely. She gets the answer. Like, I just set aside time every day to get on the app to answer any questions or review anyone's check-ins and logs. And it's slowly growing. Like, I think I have 6 clients now. I've never been able to have 6 nutrition clients at a time because I would have been way even just too much doing all that by Zoom. So slowly just growing it, and we haven't even really launched it yet. So just by mentioning it in the newsletter that we're doing this, had a lot of interest, people
Right.
coming to me.
Good.
So I can imagine once we actually launch it that will some of our coaches will hopefully be busy with adding this to their services.
Yeah, I'm working on some of the old dogs right now.
Mhm.
Looks like we got one dog coming to the trough, but um, that whole thing of us doing the soft launch and we're bringing in the Fit 3D thing. How
Mhm.
are we? How where are we at? How as far as on track, where we're going? How does it look? How does it feel for you?
Yeah, so we've got one other coach has completed his training. We've got 2 other coaches doing their training, which is great. The coach that just finished his training, he's got some. I set him up with like dummy clients so he can see what it's like now and get through the system, and just kind of helped him navigate through the system and learn how to use seismic. I wouldn't say it's naturally intuitive how to use it, but it's by no means difficult to use once you get someone to walk you through it. And it was important setting him up as both a client and as a coach so we can see what it's like from both sides. And it's great because we have these discussions too. He can come to me and ask questions about it. And I just set up one of our other coaches as a client. So as she's getting through her course, she can now see what it's like on the client side. And then as she kind of finishes her course, get her onto the coach side so she can kind of play around with it that way. I think it's important for people to experience what it's like on the client side as well, as they're kind of figuring this out. So when their clients have questions and concerns, they actually know what they're talking about when they're trying to address them. So we're kind of in that transition of people, uh, yeah, learning how to use the system and finishing up their training, which is great.
Right. So we're also, we haven't been hiding it from our group, but we're trying to figure out best practices and figure out, take away all the friction to
Mhm.
make this thing work really good in our own gym. And I think it's coming along pretty good. It's been one of my missions this year is to help every coach with their own project. I don't even think it's a specialty program. It's kind of like your
Mhm.
own project. And
Mhm.
I've been really happy with what we've done so far. Like we're doing a hard launch and a show up, like sort of what do we call it, information session for
Yeah.
anybody and everybody. So we're going to have a whole series of best practices before we release it to the Madlab group. But I'm sure there will be some people watching this before then. You want to tell them how they can get a hold of you if they want to start messing around with it, the soft launch, like you've been doing?
Yeah, you can email me at Caron, Caron, at madlab.ca.
Madlab.ca. Right.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're looking at, I know we're projecting that in our first year after the hard launch that we can generate over $100,000 in revenue for the school gym
Mhm.
itself. And we've been looking at the dollar per coach hour. What did the dollar per coach hour come out to? I'm thinking it was 100, wasn't it?
I think it's about 100. Yeah.
$100 per coach hour. So that's something we track.
Yeah.
And, once you get really good at our system and you get up to 50, 60 clients, every hour that you work on the floor equates to about $100 an hour. So if we can get anything that we add, we want to try to hit that threshold that if a coach is going to spend an hour working um, directly with a client or on the floor or whatever, it's $100. Now, the beauty of our system is they're not paid by the hour; they're paid to do a great job. So,
Mhm.
um, what would happen if I all of a sudden said, "Okay, we're going to change our client development process. It's going to be group on ramps." What would happen? Just take one disaster.
What would
Well,
happen?
just think about it, okay? You know, Karan, you got to take at least 3 people. We're not doing one-on-one anymore. It's like because I all of a sudden I got a marketing company and they're giving me 50. They're giving me 50 new clients a month, and that's my contract with them. And I've made this
Hmm.
decision, and it's the greatest thing ever from my perspective. Because I'm going to make a whole whack of my revenue is going to double here,
Hmm.
or go like whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so I've made this decision. Now I'm going to run all my systems around it, and my coach. So my client development process becomes this. My coach, development changes drastically. My coach compensation. Maybe that's okay for you, but what happens in the real world? Because we did do this a long time ago before your day, but to you, what would be the effect to you and where you're sitting? What would your life
Um,
look like all of a sudden?
I think there would be a huge churn of clients. My client retention is going to drop significantly. There's just the sheer energy that it's going to take to do each hour of work. Like I wouldn't be able to work as many hours because that sounds exhausting, to be honest, trying to teach all these people new movements in that like group.
Trying
And
to
I don't
find
think
out
you're,
their inner secrets and what's really there. You have to pull them each
yeah,
aside. You have to figure
yeah,
out ways. You have to use
you're
the
not
fire
gonna,
escape a whole lot more.
you're not going to have that like that relationship building then you're not going to have that retention. People are going to like finish whatever Groupon or whatever that you've put out, and they're going to F off, and they're not going to bring their friends, and they're not going to get better, they're not going to get fitter, they're not going to, none of the good things that happen, that happens now, are really going to happen. Like you might get some people that are going to stick around, but definitely not to the level that we have now.
Could you see yourself working here for another year or 2 years with that method?
I mean, I might just be looking and seeing what's available in my old industry. Maybe I don't mind having, having that boring corporate job.
I think I'd be back into the gym within 6 months, patching holes and all. The
I
ship
think
is
so.
like sinking. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. So that is not on my radar. I don't ever intend to
Good.
do that. They got to kill me. I'd have to die first. I think.
Yeah,
I'm
that would be a hard sell for the coaches for sure.
I mean, I. This is the part in the show there. I really enjoyed coaching. It was my favorite time of my life.
Mhm.
All my best friends came from that. Now I shouldn't say all my best friends. I got friends from my elementary school, high school. I just hung out for a week with my best friend I've known since he was 3. I went to Vegas with a guy from elementary school this fall. So I think I'd always keep those relationships. But my good relationships in Vancouver, my best ones, I all came from that community that we developed from all of that. And if I
Mhm.
do, I do feel a sense of longing for those days, or I feel like, man, I should have just stayed in the gym and not created a Madlab group. I know I'd be having a lot more fun. I'd have been less stressed, and I could have just stayed there. But you can't go back in life. So what I am proud of is every time I go in there, I can see that the principles that we worked on 15 years ago, 18 years ago, 10 years ago are still there, and they still hold up. And
Mhm.
it really is a testament to how the people that it finds and hones. You've done
Yeah.
it. Yeah, you came in and it's not like we're trying to churn out coaches. It's almost like Gladiator Academy. You got to get through. You know what I mean? And when Tom's like, you made it. Maybe it was a little bit easier for you than it was in Tom's day. There was a period of time there where it was almost impossible to become
Mhm.
a coach at our facility. You pretty much had to be completely self-reliant and all this stuff when I went off to build Madlab Group. So we know you're a tough cookie and that you wouldn't be doing this. You wouldn't be here if your heart wasn't in the right place. And yeah, I want to say congratulations for sticking through
Thanks.
this thing. And so what does the next 2 years look like for you? Where are we going? What are we doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to say, like, maybe I make it sound like it was easy, but it was not easy. Like, building from literally one client to where I am now, almost 40, it was a lot of hard work, and I was really lucky to have that kind of financial kind of safety net. It ran out eventually, but to at least have that to get through this. And you know, I just want to continue to expand, like I said, my knowledge, so I can, you know, I would say 90% of my clientele are women. And you know, early on, Tom just taught me to like lean into that, right? Sometimes they bring me their husbands and I work with their husbands too, but 90% of my clientele are women. And I just want to continue to learn to figure out how I can best serve my community and my kind of ideal client. And, you know, I just started a pregnancy and postpartum training certification because I've got a whole schwack of my clients are now pregnant. So I'm like, cool, I want to learn how to best serve them and best serve that population. And like I said, I think it's just about lifelong learning and really figuring out who you want to work with and how you can best serve that population. So I'm going to keep learning and keep growing my business.
Where do you want to get to? What's your financial target in 2 years? Catch up with you in 2 years' time.
2 years time. Yeah, I'd like to be about like 80 to 90K a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there was a thought that I had in my mind, and I can't remember where I got it from. I think it was from a personal development thing that they make you go after things that you're not good at. So I remember we'd pick our worst sales guy. He was the sales trainer. You know what I mean? You have to go figure it out. And, you know, the guy was shy public speaking. He was the one who had to do the opening commencement speech. And I used to do this stuff. It was a fucking horrendous. For my business, it was like a Charlie Palmer getting up there to speak about whatever, you know. It was like so we came up with an award, like the Charlie Palmer Award for the worst public speaker. We had a lot of fun doing it, but I really do believe that you might as well get excellent at one thing and niche down. And I knew you were doing that. One of my instincts was, well, maybe she should start a men's group. You probably learn a lot from it, but I don't know if it'd be the best thing for my business or yours.
Yeah. Hey, I will say my longest serving client, that one client I had left from COVID, is a man. So my longest serving client that I've had the longest, he is a dude and he's still here. So
he's a heterosexual man?
He is a heterosexual man. Yeah. Yeah. Not married to anyone I know, like just a dude that
farting,
started
burping,
working
heterosexual
with
dude. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So I can do it. It can be done.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of fun with all kinds of different people. I think the best advice I got from Greg Glassman was, you're never going to tell who you're going to fall in love with this thing. You're never going to tell who your best clients are going to be. They're going to come in and you'd be like some guy with a cleft palate, or looks like a troll, or dragging a club foot, and he'll be your favorite person in the world to see. And I was like, I had to agree with him after a while. And the ones that came in that I was friends with at bars or whatever, that they're the shiny looking objects, turned out to be some of the most horrible, not exclusively or anything, but some of the most horrible human beings I had to deal with. So I really found a lot of beauty and humanity with that. And it was my judgment number went to almost to nothing. And it really cured me of a lot of, I don't know, stereotypes or bigotry, or just even not even race or anything. Just like if you looked all fucked up, it was like, you know, not having to offer you something. You know, you can't judge the book, which is the beauty, the real beauty of that coaching. I do miss it. Okay, the marketing people want me to do the 60-second clip for why should someone join them? Why would you want to coach in a Madlab gym and the professional coaching program? Mind straight, 3, 2, 1. Let's see your public speaking skills. Go.
Why would you want to do a Madlab gym? Well, first of all, so that you can actually have a professional career and make a professional living off of it. As someone that did it the other way and made crappy money that was not sustainable and had to leave a job that they loved, having a method that as a coach I can continue to grow and earn and just make a professional living is just really a dream come true for someone who's always wanted to be a personal trainer and a coach.
Awesome. I think we can cut. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for doing this, Caron. It's good.
My pleasure.
I enjoy working with you. We have lots of fun. We get to know each other. We know where the boundaries of comedy lie. And your boundaries for comedy are much wider than I thought. So I'm going to start testing where they are a little bit.
I'm not that delicate.
That's good. Well, you wouldn't have made it through without it. You know, you're Tom and Andy's protege, so they're a little shinier around the edges than I am. So it's been fun. Proud of you. Keep on going. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks.